In this tutorial, I'll be sharing with you the various ways that you can publish your Articulate Presenter presentation. We'll be taking a look at publishing for the web, Articulate Online, LMS, CD, and Word. So let's get started. We'll take a look at web. Now, when we talk about publishing for the web, we're saying, hey, presenter, please take this presentation and put it into a format for me that I can place out there onto a website and folks can view. And presenter is going to do it beautifully. So its base output is going to be Flash. So if a learner is on a desktop computer or a laptop, they're going to be able to view this course in its Flash format. However, a lot of folks these days are using mobile devices, and many, if not all, mobile devices don't handle Flash very well, if at all. So what we can do is we can also say, hey, presenter, for those folks who are on mobile devices, please include HTML5 output. HTML5 is that new emerging web standard, so please include HTML5 output. Furthermore, we can also say, you know what, while we're at it, we've got this beautiful iPad player, this app that folks can download. It's the Articulate app for iPad. Let's do this. Let's provide them that format option as well. So if somebody is on the iPad, let's give them the opportunity to view the course via that app. And also, if they would like to download it to the iPad via the app for offline viewing later, let's let them do that as well. So what that output is going to look like here is this. If I have all of those options selected, we're going to see an HTML5 launcher, the regular launcher, and an iOS launcher. In terms of putting your course out there, all you have to do is direct folks to this presentation file right here. And what it's going to do is detect the device that the user is on and then serve up the appropriate format. So publishing to the web, we have a lot of great options here. And once again, we have the options for Flash-based output only, HTML5 output, and also mobile player for iPad. Next, we have Articulate Online. If you have an Articulate Online account, publishing to Articulate Online is very straightforward. Same options up top here in terms of the titling and the publishing options, but right down here below is where you will want to focus your attention. This is where you will put your account information in, your URL, your email, your password. Once you have that set, you can publish out. It will load directly into your Articulate Online account, and then you can go to Articulate Online and manage your course from there. Next in the row, we have LMS. LMS stands for Learning Management System. Now, learning management systems are great for serving up content to learners, tracking their performance on quizzes, number of slides viewed, etc. But every LMS is a little bit different in terms of the language it speaks and what its capabilities are. For example, some LMSs might not be able to handle HTML5 output that well, and so we wouldn't want to select that. Or maybe they do. Point is, you are going to want to work with your LMS administrator to determine these settings. The most important setting right down here is going to be the language that your LMS speaks. Is it SCORM 1.2? Is it 2004, AICC, or the emerging Tin Can API format? You're going to want to work with your LMS administrator to find out, well, what is the setting for that? If it's SCORM 1.2, well, what about reporting and tracking? What is the best way to report and track with our LMS? Is it going to be passed, failed? Do we have some standards? Is it completed, failed? So we're going to want to work on these pieces with your LMS administrator to make sure that you're outputting your content into the correct format. Speaking of the output, we get a lot of questions from folks about, well, how do I get my content onto my LMS? Here is the typical route. Typically, what you are going to do is you are going to take all of your files and you are going to put them into a zip folder. You can give your zip folder a name here, My Course. What you're going to then do is you're going to upload this to your LMS. It might be as a SCORM object. Maybe your LMS has a setting for that. But you're going to upload your zip file, and again, this is typical, to your LMS, and then tell your LMS, hey, launch this file right here, index LMS here, because what it's going to do is it's going to pay attention to, sort of like when we talked about the presentation for the web, it's going to identify the user's device and then serve up the best format, whether it's HTML5 or regular here. So Once again, typical process, zip your files, load that zip file to your LMS, and direct it to launch this index_LMS file. That should get you going in the right direction, but ultimately, once again, work with your LMS administrator. I'm sure they can give you the answers that you need. Next up, we have publishing to CD. 2 steps to this. Step number 1, publish it out. Okay, give it a title and publish it out. Step number 2 is going to be burning your files to a CD. Now, here's the trick that you're going to want to pay attention to. When you burn the files to a CD, you'll want to make sure that all of these files are in the root directory of the CD. So you don't want to have all of these files in a folder and then burn the folder to the CD. You want to have these all individually in the root directory of the CD. The reason for that is I'm going to open this file right here and show you what it says. There we go, this auto run file. What it's doing is once the CD enters the computer is going to read your CD and it's looking for this auto run file. And the auto run file says, hey, launch this executable file, this launch presentation. Launch that because that's going to get our presentation up and running and rolling. If these files are within a folder, your computer's likely not going to be able to, it's not going to jump in and look at the contents inside that folder. It's looking at the root directory. So it's never going to see this auto run file and it's not going to start it up. So if you want your presentation to auto launch, if you want it to launch automatically when the CD goes in, then you'll want to make sure that all of your files are in the root directory. Now, if you tell your learners up front, hey, just look inside this folder and then double click launch presentation, that'll work too. But once again, if you're burning to CD, best practice would likely be take all of these files and place them in the root directory. Now, our final stop here in terms of our options is Microsoft Word. So you have the option to output to Storyboard or Presenter Notes. I'm going to choose a Storyboard here because it's a fantastic option. When I publish out to Storyboard, I've actually just done it. I'm going to pull up the Word document right here. You'll see the following. You'll see all of the slides in your presentation. You'll see the slide number, the slide title, how long that slide lasts, what the advanced mode is in terms of automatic or by user, and over here on the right you'll see the script. And so you'll see the notes that are in the notes pane in PowerPoint here in this notes area. This is a fantastic way to output your course for review by a subject matter expert, by a client. So all you have to do is make those settings. It's going to output the document for you. And then you can send that on to, once again, to your client, to your subject matter expert, whoever it may be. Now, one last item that I'd like to bring your attention to, and we saw it throughout several of these options, is this properties area right down here. In particular, the player and the quality. Right from here, before I publish, I can select the current player and I can come in and make some changes to my presentation, bring in a different player on the fly right here from this publishing area. And quality. I can also come in and I can choose standard quality for my presentation, or I can customize it. So let's say that I know I have users that are on really low bandwidth. Maybe it's a slow DSL connection. What I could do is I could say, hey, presenter, let's create smaller file sizes for the video. So let's compress the video down in my course. Let's keep the audio bit rate down. Let's take the image quality and really compress the images down. Now you'll want to play with this to find the best balance between the quality and the size of the file. But know that if you take everything up to its maximum settings, you're going to have a much larger presentation, and folks on slower connections might struggle to view it. It's going to take longer to load, and there'll be some hiccups during the presentation. So you're going to want to work on this balance between the size and the quality. And that's done right there in the publishing quality area. So that's a little bit about publishing with Articulate Presenter 13. Whether you want to publish to the web, LMS, CD, or Word, Presenter has you covered. Now, should you have any questions about publishing with Articulate Presenter 13, please join us in the eLearning Heroes community. Stop on by the forums, ask some questions. We're going to be there hanging out with thousands of other e-learning professionals, and our goal is to make you successful with our tools. So stop on in, ask your questions. We are going to be there to help you out. Take care.